Now, before we move on to new things, I want to give you guys a review of the three loops: the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. Now, if you have a full understanding of these, you can just go ahead and skip this video. But if you're a little bit foggy on differences and, the little details of each one, I'll cover them again in this video. So we'll start off with the first one that we saw, which was the while loop, which will allow us to repeat something until a certain condition is met. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off up here by giving our variable. So we'll say that x is going to be using integer data, and we'll assign it a value of 0. Now, to start off with our while loop, we need to just write the word while, and inside the bracket you write your condition, and you're going to allow it to keep running until this condition is no longer true. So you can go ahead and write x is less than 10, which means it will keep running this until x is less than 10. Now you might say to yourself, x is always less than 10. That means we need to go ahead and take it into our own hands to write an incrementation statement for it. And we'll have to do this with the do while loop as well. We need to tell it how much it needs to increase by each time it passes through the loop, or we're going to be here forever watching the loop go over and over and over again. We don't want to do that. So inside here, we can go ahead and we can write cout x end line, and then down here we can write x plus plus. And x plus plus is going to allow us to increase by 1 each time we pass through the loop, and eventually it's no longer going to be true. We should get 0 to 9 printed out on our screen when we go ahead and build this. And we'll go ahead down here and we see, let's drag this over here and make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it all. We see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You start off by going through the while loop, and your value is x is equal to 0. So we know that x is 0. First time we go through, it says, first thing it asks, it says right here, first it says, is x less than 10? We know that x is equal to 0. So it says yes it is. So we are allowed to enter the while loop. We get inside the while loop. Now it says, please tell us what the value of x is. Well, the value of x is 0 right now, sir. And then you'll put 0 out on the screen. You'll go to the next line, and it's going to say, please increase that value by 1. You'll say, okay, sir, you increase by 1. And now, since you're in a while loop, you need to go to the top again and see if you satisfy the condition. Now it says, x is less than 10. Is x less than 10? Yes, it is. It's 1. You re-enter the loop. Now you're back inside. Now it says, please print the value on screen. Well, now the value is 1, and it keeps repeating that process. So that is a while loop. Now, a for loop will take some of this information and just make it seem a little bit neater. It's going to put it all inside of the bracket. So it's going to take this value up here, which is our starting value. It's going to take this here, which is going to be the condition, but in this case, we'll call it the ending value. And it's going to take this over here, which is our incrementation. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do that. So we can actually go ahead and remove this assignment. So we can just say that x is an integer, and we'll remove all this here. And now we can go ahead and write for, because we're looking at the for loop. And you see automatically on the screen, it appears your bracket, and inside it says initialization, then a semicolon, condition, semicolon, and then increment, and then it ends off the bracket, and then it goes to the body. So we can go ahead and write that. First it asks, what do we want to start off at? Well, we'll do the exact same thing that we just saw with the while loop. We'll say x is equal to 0. That's what we're going to be starting off with. It says, okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to separate that with a semicolon, and we're going to say, what do we want to end at? What's our condition? This is the exact same thing that you had as your condition for your while loop, and this will just say the same thing, x is less than 10. Next, we can go ahead and we can say, how much do we want to increment by each time we pass through this? And we can write the same increment we had before, x plus plus, which means increase by 1 each time you pass through, and you can end off like that, and you can go to your body. And we can see that we simply just need to write the cout x this time, and we're going to get the exact same result. So this result we have down here was from our while loop, and when we find that I go ahead and press build and run, you're going to see that the build is succeeded, and we have the exact same results, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can make the same results with the for loop and the while loop. So if you were on a test and your professor asked you to either build a calculator with the for loop or the while loop, now we can see how they can interchange, and knowing how they interchange, that's all you really need to know. This over here, this x is equal to 0, will simply be written up here where you say that you define your x as an integer and then you assign it a value. You'll assign it 0. This will just stay inside the bracket of your while loop, and that's going to be your condition. And this will be located somewhere in the body. Now remember, it matters where you put it in the body. If you were to put it before the cout here in the while loop, for example, then it would increase before it actually gets printed out on screen. So just remember that. If you really want it to just be at the end, you would just put it the last thing inside of your loop. Now we can take a look at the do while loop. And this one is the one with something original to it. This one is the one that will actually guarantee that we will be printing one run through the loop on screen, even if the condition is nowhere near met. You'll always print one thing, and then you look at the condition. If the condition is met, then we go through it again. Now this one is more similar to the while loop, whereas you don't have all this fancy stuff inside of your bracket. You need to write it up here. So you go ahead and you'll say that the integer x is assigned a numerical value of 0. Now we go ahead and write the do. And we're not going to put brackets this time. We're going to go straight into your curly braces. You're going to go into your curly braces and you're going to write all the code that you want it to be, all the statements you want. So the first statement, we'll just go ahead and print it out on screen. We'll say x is less than, sorry, not x is, we'll print out x on the screen. Then we're going to say x plus plus. And now we're going to go and say while. You're going to write this after the curly brace. And now you'll say x is less than 10, just like we saw before. And you're going to end it off with a semicolon. Now, you see that this is the body here. First, it's going to say print out what value of x you have. Okay, I'll print it out. Next, it's going to say increase that value by 1. Okay, and next, because remember we read top to bottom, it's going to say, now, do you satisfy this condition? You might say yes. You might say no. No matter what, you have this happen. This has happened, no matter what. If this is still true, you're going to repeat the do loop, which is why you still need to have this incrementation, because you'll need to obviously keep increasing so you'll eventually be able to stop. So we go ahead and we can build and run this, and we're going to see we're going to get the exact same thing before. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 9. The only difference about this one is, say I were to put 660 here as the initial value. Well, that's clearly not less than 10, but we are still going to run this, and we're going to find that we're going to get at least one run through our loop. We're going to get this printout of x here. It's going to say, okay, increase x by 1. Okay, now it's 661. 661 still not less than 10, so we got to stop the loop here, but we still got that first run through. So hope this cleared it up for you guys about the differences between the three loops, the for loop, the do while loop, and the while loop. If you're still confused, feel free to leave a comment. I will respond to you as soon as I can, and I hope I will be able to clear it up for you. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys are enjoying the series we're going to be advancing here on out. Thanks.